Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits, and today is Sunday, September 15th, 2019. This is episode 339. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more episode, and if you're new, hopefully you enjoy this episode and you'll come back in the future. So, as you can see, I'm flying solo once again this episode. As I remarked last episode, my sister Amanda, who is joining me on the show for a couple of episodes, is taking a bit of a hiatus. As summer's winding down, she's doing a lot of seeing of friends and going out, and crafting has not been on the top of her priority list with all the work that she's doing in the studio with us, and then going out, she has not been in the crafty mood. So we're going to be recording solo for a little while. We'll see when she's ready to come back. But you have me, so hopefully that's all right. All right, so let's just jump right in and try to keep this a little bit of a shorter episode, even though I do have quite a bit to show. Let's talk about the last 2 weeks or so since we last have seen each other. Lots have been going on. I traveled to... Where did I go? Last weekend, I traveled to Lisle, Illinois, which is a southwest suburb of Chicago, which is right by where I grew up, and we did a trunk show there at Yarns Untold, which is a relatively new shop. They are celebrating their 1-year anniversary this weekend, so they kind of did a week-long celebration starting with the trunk show from us. So we set up on Friday night, and then we stayed pretty late till about 7:30 on Friday night. They have open knitting, and they have club membership, and club members could shop the trunk show early. And then we showed up on Saturday, and we enjoyed the trunk show and the people who came out to support us. And then we packed up and drove home. So nothing really exciting, other than I did get to drive past my childhood home, which looks the same yet quite different. They changed the color of the shutters and ripped out a bunch of bushes, which I'd seen that last time, but they changed out the chain link fence and put in wooden fence, which by now is old because it's been 16 years since we've lived there. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, reminiscing. So then this weekend we had off, which is crazy. Andy's at the studio still working. I worked this morning. I went in early the past 2 days. Been doing full days. We are dyeing so much yarn it's not even funny. Trying to make sure that we're ready for this big tour we're going on where we're going to be home for like 4 days in the whole month of October. I don't think we're going to be nearly ready. We have 2 shipped trunk shows we're also trying to stock for, so it's just been all the yarn, all the time, which is great. I just want to know that we're going to have enough inventory. And then we're going to sell it because we're putting a lot on the line to bump up this much inventory so that we have enough. So the joys of owning a small business and running the finances as well. So, yeah, it's just been a lot of time in the studio. I did have a doctor's appointment this Tuesday just for a checkup. Things are going better for those of you who don't know, I'm a type 2 diabetic, and about 3 months ago I went in due to my numbers being relatively high for about a month. I made some small adjustments in eating and things like that, and it seems to have helped in taking care of the issue. My numbers are even better than they were 6 months ago, so he was happy with that. I had him look at my ears, as I told you previously. I went into the walk-in clinic because I really couldn't hear, and they thought it was the start of an ear infection. He kind of smirked at that, and he goes, "That's what they tell you when they don't really know what to tell you." He's like, "Your ears look fine," and I feel like I have cotton balls in my ears even right now. What he said I probably am suffering from is fluid on the eardrum, which happens to a lot of people on both ears. And he said it's relatively common and it can become chronic. fingers crossed, sorry if I bumped the camera, fingers crossed it does not become chronic. He says it takes a while, a pretty long while to get over, and that really the only solution to it is if it becomes chronic and the person so chooses, then you can have surgery and have tubes put in your ears. Really don't want to have that happen, so I'm just hoping this is like a one-time deal and it's just taking a while. I have good days and bad days. Today is a very muffled day, so if you see me in the next couple of weekends in the next month and I'm like, what? I'm sorry? Can you repeat yourself? I've been doing a lot of that. It is what it is, I guess. I really don't enjoy all these random health issues that happen as you get older. It's always something new and something different. And you're like, is it something to worry about or should I just let it go? Anyway, yay. So that's pretty much been my 2 weeks. I hope your 2 weeks have been wonderful as summer's coming to a close and, we're getting ready for sweater weather. So I can add to my resume now, by the way, folks. I am a window dresser. That is correct. I told Andy I really wanted to dress up our window in the studio, which, for those of you who don't know, I dye yarn. I'm an independent yarn dyer with my partner, Andy. My sister, Amanda, also works for us. And in February, we bought a studio. We bought a storefront on our town square, which is about a 3 to 4 minute walk down the street from our house. And it has a beautiful storefront that we're not using, and people don't understand that we're not a store, we're a manufacturer, and we're using it as a studio, so we don't actually have open hours. We're not open to the public. But I thought, we always have people looking in, and I change out old samples, and people, I get people when we have the door open or we're walking out or walking in who say they love seeing the samples change and enjoying the work. So I decided I wanted to kind of do a real store window and kind of dress it up for fall. And so Andy actually agreed that would be a really cute idea. And so we went to Hobby Lobby as well as Michael's and Walmart and a few other places. And, say what you want about Hobby Lobby. I'm a gay man who shops there. And while I can have somewhat of an issue there, I don't need any remarks about why I shouldn't shop there. I know what the issues are, and I'm well informed on where I'm spending my money. But for a business expense, you can't beat the deal. We still spent a pretty penny to do the window, but when I got everything 40% off, there was one item that wasn't on sale, and I got to use my 40% off coupon on that. But I have the cutest window, and I bought letters to spell out sweater weather, and there's little woodland creatures, and I have 2 sweaters on mannequins, and there's falling leaves everywhere, and acorns, and pumpkins, and knit cabled pumpkins, and haystacks, and little... we've got a little bench with a hedgehog and a squirrel on it, and we've got like a little table nightstand type thing filled with different fall colored yarns, and there's a chair we have with a shawl on it and a ball of yarn and the start of a hat that I started, like somebody got up from knitting, and it's super cute. I'm really happy with it. So we're hoping to change that out every quarter or so and do something different. And the nice thing is, we spent the money, but we can keep that and reuse these decorations. So yeah, that was really exciting this week to see the window come alive. And there's been I saw a set of grandparents with their grandson walk by today because, I was told of their presence by the dogs because they bark like everyone's, going to kill us as an intruder. But they were pointing out all the little woodland creatures that I hid, amongst everything. And so I was really proud of that. But anyway, let's get to the knitting, shall we? Because guess what? I have not 1 but 2 finished objects. I have 2 large wraps to show you. And yeah, I'm super excited that they're done. So the first one I'm going to show you is I'm tentatively calling That's My Jam. wrap by me. I designed this. And while it was definitely a learning experience and it's nothing too challenging, I'm happy with the end product. And again, I learned a lot. But it is blocked, and so this uses 2 skeins of Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper in Mary's Jam, and then 1 6-pack gradient of Showstopper in the Fruit Salad colorway. So it mixes in garter stripes with lace and beads. You can see a little bit of the beading there. And it alternates the lace. And then I had a little bit of each of the colors left over for the gradient, so I wanted to use those. And so I did this eyelet mesh, and I incorporated more beads in there. And the way I ran the numbers, I was not doing, I was actually still increasing. So the mesh kind of fans out at fishtails. But I think that's a cool little accent. And what I thought was really cool, if you want to, let's put it on this way. So say you have this side on your arm, the weight of the beads gives it a really nice drape. You could put in some buttons and pop them through the eyelet mesh and do like a wrap with a closure. Look up here, and then you could almost have like a bell sleeve. It'd be super cool. But then it just gives it, look at that weight. I don't think we use beads enough in knitting anymore, or give options to use them. I get not every time you want knit something you want to put beads, but man, really with this, it really gives it some heft that the rest of the shawl doesn't have. So I thought that was really cool. So I'm going to work on finishing writing this up, hopefully after the retreat this weekend. And I'm going to put a call out here for a couple of test knitters. If you're interested, you need about 900 yards of a main color, plus 6 mini skeins of about 90 to 92 yards. I did use almost every bit of my mini skeins. And you need, if you're going to bead it, which I would ask that you would if you're test knitting, you need about 50 grams of beads. So I got these beads from Bead Biz, and they are size 5 triangle beads, though you could use size 6 regular beads, whatever you have on hand, and I used 2 tubes, which were approximately 25 grams. So if you are interested in test knitting this for me, I'm probably looking to release it, I don't know. I would say I'd probably give you, what's September through October? Does that sound reasonable? I know it took me a while, but I don't have the knitting time that I used to. And I'll probably look for about 6 to 10 people. If you're interested, please private message me on Ravelry, Dramatic Knits, with your name, your email address, so I can send you the PDF. And if you have any prior sample knitting experience, I'd like to know that. Because, you can't just, with sample knitting, or, excuse me, with test knitting, not sample knitting, you are providing your own yarn, I'm not providing yarn. But with test knitting, you cannot just fudge it and let it go. I did a lot of fudging in the lace, and I need to remember what I did so that, it does the same thing that mine did. So I didn't do a lot of fudging. I did one fudge, and that increased every row. So that's what incurred the fanning. So if you're interested, private message me on Ravelry within the next week or so, and I will get you the PDF and have you sample knit, and you get the pattern ahead of time. And I would appreciate feedback as part of that. All right, so that's my jam wrap. The second finished object I have is Verdon by Melanie Berg. And I blocked this, and it came out huge. And I've dyed the yarn. I just need to make sure it gets reskeined and packaged before the retreat, so that this sample and kits for this will be premiering at the Knitting at the Estate retreat this weekend. And here is Verdon. It is huge. So let me roll on back. And this uses Leading Men Fiber Arts Show Stealer, which is our merino cashmere nylon. In the cream is Nude Scene, the blue is Poseidon, the green is Dirty Truce, and the brown is Black Walnut. So it is way past my wingspan, which I'm 5'7". I can't wait to hear how many people at the retreat are going to be like, you're shorter than I thought you'd be. It's better than, you're fatter than I thought you'd be. But it's a schlanket. I mean, seriously, you can wrap it. And what's cool is you almost have this poncho-esque if you were to, again, use one of our shawl latches, which we have in the shop, to do something like that. You could just scrunch it up and have a whole lot of knitting around your neck. And yeah, so that is Verdon. It's really simple knitting, and the little bit of lace is not hard. I did screw up one color section. I reversed the colors because I didn't read completely, but you know, it's a mistakeification. But yeah, this would be so nice. I might keep it on for a while so I get a little warm. So that's what I finished. This was knit on a size 6 US. That's my jam wrap is knit on a size 5. All right, so let's move along into what's performing this episode. The first for me is my Alpine blanket using Serdar Alpine in the Brindle colorway on a size 15 US 10 millimeter needle. Probably gonna have to roll back again. My bag, my extra 10 skeins of this yarn did arrive from Daramore's safe and sound. And I have already added in the 21st ball of yarn. I'm not too far into it, but 21st ball of yarn. This will be a total of 30 skeins. Here's where about 20 gets you, with about 150 some odd cast on. But again, if it's on the floor, 20 balls only gets me to about here. And I want, you know, a big, oh, I just lost, my needle broke. Ha! Wasn't that nice? Cheapy needle. Let's just keep that going. How far did it fall off? Oh man. Well, that's interesting. Huh. I'll need to get another needle and pick up all these after the show. But luckily it's fuzzy, so it's not really going anywhere, but still. But anyway, I decided, you know what, if I was going to spend that much money on a 20 skein blanket and not be extremely happy with it, I should spend the money when it was on sale and do a 30 skein blanket and be able to just envelop myself in that softness. So, all right, next up for me is my blend on the water. This is a 4 skein DK weight wrap using slip stitches to blend colors together. And I'm using the Uncommon Thread Merino DK in Arkham Asylum, Into Dust, Wilted Rose, and Aged Merlot on a size 7 US 4.5 millimeter needle. And this hasn't gotten a whole lot of love, though I have moved it onto a bigger needle so that I can open it up a little bit more. That's the wrong side. So here we are. And you can see I worked on this last night. I'm now completely in this third color, which is Wilted Rose. This is Arkham Asylum. This is Into Dust, Wilted Rose. An Aged Merlot looks like this, which is a very dark purple. And that will be added in last. All right, next up, the next two things are new cast-ons for me. The first one is a knit-along that my local yarn store is doing, which is Les Moutons Rouge Knittery in Bloomington, Illinois. And they were casting on for this when I went to Knit Night. I did go to Knit Night last Tuesday because I needed to drop off my monthly shipment with them. And they are knitting along with Plaid Please by Amy Miller. And this is a lace weight scarf / wrap that looks like plaid. It's very, very ethereal and airy. And they had put together some yarn combos at the store. And one of the yarns that you can use is Rowan Kid Silk Haze, which was just sent to the podcast to be used either for myself or the podcast prizes. And there's still some more for podcast prizes, but I took some of this to use to join the knit along. So my colors, my first one is cream, and this is Rowan Kid Silk Haze. That's a mohair silk blend. They are 25 grams, and they are 70% mohair, 30% silk, 230 yards in 25 grams, so it's a lace weight. My main color is going to be cream, and then my second color is trance. So trance. And then my pop of color, which are going to be smaller stripes, and then the vertical stripes, is going to be Candy Girl. So I thought that was pretty cool. So this is knit on a size 6 US 4mm. I haven't gotten a whole lot done on that, but it's pretty mindless. So I don't know. I may bring that to the retreat this weekend. We'll see how much knitting time I get running a retreat. Though Andy keeps telling me my job is going to be to socialize with people and make sure that people are having a good time. So I'm not going to deny the man what he wishes. The next thing that I have to show you is a new cast on, but I've barely cast it on. I came across this pattern at the Michigan Fiber Festival. We had several ladies in our booth shopping for yarn for this pattern, and they showed it to me, and I fell in love. And that is the Stranger Strings Wrap by Julia Decker. And so I reached out to Julia and I said, hey, I really want to knit this as a shop sample and eventually kit it for the shop. Is that something you would be interested in? And she said yes. So she kindly gifted me the pattern to knit it. And this is what it looks like. So it's using mosaic knitting with slip stitches and garter ridges, garter stripes. You need 7 mini skeins as well as 2 skeins of a main color. So kind of like what I just designed, but not in the same by any means, but you know, the 2 skeins with several mini skeins. But this one calls for 7, so I decided to use Darkest Hour is my main color, which is black, just like the sample. And here's where I've gotten. Not very far. This is knit on a size 6 4mm as well. And then my contrasting stripes are going to be, let me get them in the right order, our Showstopper Gradient set in the OMG Neons, which is a neon rainbow. But I need a 7th color, so I'm going to add Glow Stick right there in the middle. Sorry, my colors are washing out. So I'm super excited with this contrast, and I think it's going to be amazing. Now I just have to find time to knit it. But again, that one should be pretty easy to take to the retreat, which I might work on. I don't know. You know, I need things that I can pick up and drop down when I have to get up and do things. And my project bag from last episode had found a new home, or it found a new project, so that's what I'm using in that. And then last but not least, I thought I'd show you my granny square blanket this episode. So I did, I think I finished a row last time, but I've added a few more squares onto the blanket. Make sure I'm showing you the right side, not the wrong side. So, and we may get some interruptions. I'm not sure if Andy just drove in with the dogs. If he did, sorry, prepare yourself because I'm not going to stop and splice. But you can see here the top row is the new additions. I don't know who all these are from. I know this is Black Cat Fibers. This is Deep Dyed Yarns. I want to say this is V Yarns that I wove with. This is Oink Pigments. This is some Showcase by Leading Men, and this is Black Cat Fibers. So I did remember the top row. I don't remember whose this was. This might have been Bumblebee Acres, but I'm not sure. So, again, since I've got all this room and I can show you it in its entirety, here we are. So what I'm doing is a 5-round granny square join as you go. So I make a 5-round granny square, weave in my ends using a C hook and fingering and sport weight yarn. And then I'm using our soliloquy base, which is 100% superwash BFL, to join as I go the squares. So, and then this edge will be added, since I'm joining as I go, this edge will be done last, and then I may do an extra round or two for an edging, around the entire blanket just to give it something. But I'm super happy with that. So it's nice to feel a little sense of accomplishment with each square. And I realized that border is what all my scrap projects were missing before. My type A personality cannot handle the hodgepodge of the mitered squares or the, this, that, and the other scrap projects. I need something to break up each color. And this is doing that for me. So I'm really happy with it. We got dogs. You can see Ernest back there. I wonder where Corndog is. Where's your brother? Anyway, so let's keep going. What's in rehearsal? I don't really have anything in rehearsal because I cast on those 2 new projects. Eventually, when I finish the DK weight wrap, the blend on the water, I will use a random number generator, which I am inclined to do on my stash, and it will pick for me my next project using stash yarn. I am still spinning, moving into behind the scenes. I'm still spinning some Hidden Valley Farm and Woolen Mill, 75% Coopworth, 25% mohair roving in the Cypress Moss colorway. This is what I have left. So it was an 8-ounce bump. That's why it's taking me a while. I'm going to do a traditional 2-ply. I spun 4 ounces, and I'm doing the other 4 ounces. So, all right. Heaven and Earth Designs. Moving into the scene shop, let's talk about my cross stitch. I'm still working on my Heaven and Earth design called One for Sorrow. And as reference, if I can find it quickly, here we are. This is what the cross stitch will eventually look like. I am right here in this upper corner still. A lot of just blues and creams, nothing too exciting. But I did finish a row. So I haven't finished a page, but I did finish a row. So here we are. So I'm doing 2/1 tent stitch, which is a half stitch rather than a full cross, because I realized that a full cross, I started up here and it was way too dense for me. So I'm liking the way the half stitch is working. And I did finish this row, and then I'm working my way this way, and then finish that row, and then here. And I can't remember if this is the end of the first page or not, but each of these, this is 25 count, easy count, Lugana, even weave, I don't know, whatever they sell on the Heaven and Earth Designs website. So the 10 by 10 block is already matched out for you. So there's 100 stitches in each one of these little squares. And so I've done at least, several thousand stitches so far. My weaving, you can see behind me, I let it be my silent co-host. I am weaving on my Ashford 15-inch Cricut using some Leading Men Fiber Art Showcase, which is being discontinued. We have a few skeins left in the shop, very few, which have been marked down to 40% off. But I am using Sangria as the weft, which is one of my squares in my blanket that I just showed you, and Bahama Mama, which is a discontinued color, as the warp. Sangria as the warp, Bahama Mama as the weft. I'm using a size 10 dent reed, and just enjoying the monotony of weaving that. So, all right, let's move into In the Spotlight. What am I watching and reading? So, since we last talked, Andy and I finished Mindhunter Season 2. Very good, but of course, as to do, a lot of story arcs were left very wide open. Due to the success of the show, I would very much say they're going to have a Season 3, which is great. I enjoyed the stories that were told in Season 2, so I highly give a thumbs up to that if you are on Netflix. I've watched a couple episodes of How to Get Away with Murder Season 5, which just released on Netflix a little while ago. Season 6 is due to start airing, or is airing, and this is the final season, Season 6. So, which I think is about time. I think they're kind of stretching the storyline, and there's only so long that so many people can be at such a high stress level. But I'm still enjoying it. Andy and I have started a new show, which was under his recommendation, called The Righteous Gemstones, which stars John Goodman, is it Divine or Levine? Divine. He's back, so he's telling me in the kitchen. You won't ever see him, but you might hear him. And then some other dude that was on another Showtime show. I don't know. Anyway, it's pretty funny. I was not looking to watch it, but now that we're into it by about 2 episodes, I'll watch it with them. So it's about a family that has essentially become a very powerful family in the Christian religion. Or I should say, I'm guessing they're Christian, but evangelists. Thank you. I just should have Andy on as a co-host. They're evangelists, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention, but anyway, they're one of those very wealthy types of families that are not as holier than thou as they seem, and so a lot of funny things happen, and trying to keep up their reputation and whatnot. So, and that's on Showtime. I did watch 2 movies on Netflix. The first one is called Malevolent, and Andy watched that with me. It was okay. The ending kind of went meh, but it was all right to watch if you need something, to watch while you're crafting one night. And it's kind of a suspense, scary ghost story, which I want to watch all the time, but I can never find really good ones. And last night was no exception. So the Malevolent, I would say, watch if you want. The next one I do not recommend, and that was called The Open House. It has the kid in it from 13 Reasons Why on Netflix. I've not seen that show, but I know his face. And it's about this boy and his mother. His father dies in a car, in a hit and run accident, and so the mother is now a single mother with him, and they are they're poor and in poverty, and so the mother's sister said, "Hey, why don't you go take care of my mountain house? We're trying to sell it, but you just need to leave during open houses, but you can live up there and save some money." And so they move up there, and the first weekend there they have an open house, and then some strange things start happening around the house, and the kid's like, what? You think open houses are really weird, that you give your key to your home and all your belongings to somebody you don't know, and people walk through your house for a given amount of time while you're not there, and then the realtor locks up, but do they really know that everybody is gone? And so it's kind of that take. bad writing, bad acting. Don't recommend it. So that's what's in the spotlight. Moving on into stash enhancement. Guess what? I got none. But I'm going to have some next time, y'all. Because I got permissions to shop the market at our retreat. And when I get permission, that's usually when I'm like, I don't need anything. But I'm sure I will have a few things to show you next episode. But I did shop my own stash by picking out yarn for the Stranger Strings wrap. So, and then, picking out yarn from gracious donations to the podcast. So I was like, don't really need anything. All right, we got to give away this episode. We are going to be giving away a copy of the book Pipsqueaks. And this is by Kim Hargreaves. And it is 35 knitting designs from Rowan for babies and children up to 10 years old. And it has a lot of really cool designs in here. A lot of garments. And things of that nature. So if you know somebody who's had a child or are having children or grandchildren and you want something that's going to give you from babies all the way up to 10 years old, this is a good pattern book. So we're going to be giving this away. You must be a member of the Dramatic Knits group on Ravelry. You must post one post per person, no more than one. And you must answer the prompt, which for this giveaway, the prompt is, what would be the worst buy one, get one free sale of all time? So we know we like a good BOGO, right? Buy one, get one. But what would be the worst buy one, get one free sale of all time? I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Think about it, because I can't come up with anything. My mind wants to come up with something related to kidney stones, because that's like the worst. But I'm like, you buy a case of soda, you get a free kidney stone. Because they do say that like the artificial sweeteners and stuff in soda can cause it. I don't know. But go on over to the Pipsqueaks book giveaway thread on our Ravelry group. That'll be up when this is posted. And one post per person, please. All entries must be submitted before recording next time, which the date will be in the thread. All right, let's move on to Inside the Knitter Studio. This is where you all ask questions and I answer them. So if you are new to the podcast, on our Ravelry group, there is a Q&A thread where you can ask questions of me and my sister when she joins me. And we just go on down the list and answer those questions, one per episode. And so some people have gone on there and asked questions. Thank you so much. And this episode's question comes from DPNs for Now. And they ask, Steve, now that you have your new worsted weight non-superwash West End base, what designer would you love to collaborate with to create a pattern using your yarn? So I gave this some thought while I was getting things together to record. I was afraid that was going to go down the wrong pipe. So originally the three big names right now that were popping into my head were Andrea Mowry, and I was like, yeah. I would like to work with Caitlin Hunter simply because the non-superwash is great for color work, which we all know that Boylan Knitworks, Caitlin Hunter, is queen of the color work, sweaters, crop tops, things of that nature this year. And she has a brand new sweater called Ghost Horses, which is really cool. I'm so afraid of having something knit that large, like a garment, and everybody's going to knit it. While I want things to be popular, I don't want the same sample that everybody's going to have in their booth. So, I don't know. But then, ultimately, I ended up with Joji Locatelli. I love her designs. I love knitting her designs. I love her aesthetic. I feel like she is, for the most part, on trend for now, but yet timeless and classic, that it can be worn years down the road. So you're not just knitting something to have it this season and then it's out of style in a couple of years, which, all you knitting the crop tops, I hope those aren't out of style, but at least if they are in a couple of years, it didn't take as much knitting as a full-on sweater, right? Which he's, dabbling in the crop tops and whatnot. But I would love to work with her. I have exchanged a few emails with her previously regarding patterns for kits. And unfortunately, because she is in Argentina and due to the very interesting regulations on mail there, she cannot receive packages. And if she does, it is a very rigorous routine to get said package and the amount of money she has to pay to get it. So she usually gets yarn when she travels, and she has people all over who mule yarn around for her. And unfortunately, she is not traveling as much as she used to due to her slowing down on her teaching schedule. She is not going to be teaching and traveling in the foreseeable future. So I'm sure she's going to have to figure out how she's going to get yarn, but I would love to have our yarns used in one of her designs. So someday maybe, right? All right, let's move into a round of applause. Last episode, we were giving away 3 50-gram skeins of Bouchelet yarn. I don't know how to say this. It is Kate Davies yarn, raised in Scotland, 100% wool. 120 yards each 50-gram skein. This skein is called Ptarmigan with a P in front. I don't know if it's silent. This one is called Between Weathers, that I can read. And this one is called Highland Coo. But I thought this would be really great for a Kate Davies design, perhaps, or really any type of colorwork, hat, fingerless mitts, accessory, cowl, that kind of thing. So, the prompt last episode was, what fad did you never really understand? And I loved reading that every day when I'd come home. I'd read through that thread. And a lot of you agreed with me with the sagging pants. A lot of people were also on the pant bandwagon of buying pants with holes or distressed spots already made in them. But the winner was number 11, who is M. Festino, and they said Pogs. Now, this is really hysterically funny because my friend Rafa from California posted something on Facebook the other day, and he was like, how many of you, and he posted this whole Pog setup. He was like, how many of you collected these? And I about lost my ever-living mind because for a good year to 2 years, I collected Pogs like they were nobody's business. I couldn't tell you what the point of it was other than these cardboard discs that you stored in tubes and you traded them and whatever. But I was into that so hardcore during my early tween years. And I wasn't the only one. But obviously M. Festino, who does not give their name or location, they are in the U.S. somewhere, did not understand the fad with Pogs, but I did, sadly. But congratulations on Festino. You win these 3 skeins. If you would, please private message me on Ravelry, Dramatic Knits, with your first and last name, mailing address, and an email address so I can send you tracking info once it ships out to you. All right, moving right along. We encourage you to enter our Race to the Finished Object contest every month. September's thread is currently open until the end of the month. We will have a physical prize that has been graciously donated to the podcast, pulled from our prize pool. And then we will have a pattern prize from our featured designer, who this month is Jen Lucas, who is of Jen Lucas Design. She is an Illinois native as well, and has graciously agreed to be our featured designer here for the past few months, and she will continue to be our featured designer through October. She has recently released a new shawl called Radiate. Now I gotta look it up. Hold on. She just gifted it to me, but it features one of our gradients as well as a full scan, 2 gradients, I'm sorry, multicolor pack, and then a actual gradient, and it is called Refraction. And I will insert a picture of that here. And so it's absolutely stunning. I need to either get on a sample knitter to get that done, or I'd love to knit it, but I can't knit everything. But she picked up the yarn for that at Pittsburgh Knit and Crochet this past spring when she was teaching there, as well as I was teaching there, as well as vending. So so excited to see that. That just came out stunningly beautiful, and can't wait to get that in the booth and start making kits for that as well. So yeah, so enter anything you finish in the month of September into that thread. 1 picture per finished object, 1 post per finished object gets you an entry into the drawing. You can post as many times for as many objects as you finish in the month. October is Jen's last month being featured, so in November we will need a new featured designer. If you are interested, if you are a designer, please private message me on Ravelry Dramatic Knits. All it requires of you is to donate 1 pattern per month you are featured. You can be featured as little as 1 month and as long as 6 months. The choice is yours. All right, moving right along into center stage. Let's talk about recording. The next 2 episodes will be 3 weeks apart. So you will not see me again for 3 weeks. And then the following episode after that will be another 3 weeks. And the issue with that is that Leading Men Fiber Arts is hitting the road and doing some rather extensive touring. So as I've mentioned, we will not be home, but maybe about 4 days for the entire month of October. So upcoming shows, that moves into the last segment here. This weekend is the Knitting at the Estate Retreat, which we are hosting. Oh, I'm so excited. So this idea is coming to fruition this weekend, but it came to Andy and I over a year ago, last August 2018, and when the 3 of us, including my sister, went out to the Allerton Park and Retreat Center in Monticello, Illinois, to go take some pictures of finished objects. We had heard of this beautiful estate that's like 35 minutes from our house for years, and we'd never been out there. So we went out there, and they have 14 formal gardens, a mansion, beautiful forestry and landscaping, and we took some beautiful photos there. And when Andy turned to me and said, you know, this really would be a beautiful place to do a knitting retreat, that's all he had to say. And I was like deers in a headlight, and I was like, let's go. I was ready to move on it. So we met with the estate team, and we talked with some of our friends who have held retreats, including Laura and Leslie of the Knit Girls, who are extremely helpful in answering any of our questions and giving us some tips and tricks. And the last year, we've been working towards this amazing experience that is going to be here in, 4 days. It's crazy. We are going to be hosting 71 people from across the country, from Alaska to New York to Florida to California to Seattle. I'm getting a little lightheaded just thinking about it, but I think we're ready. My entire first floor, out of frame of the iPad into the living room, is full of boxes and totes of goodie bags that have been worked on getting packaged and stuffed, and we still have a package of coupon codes that have to be made early next week and then put into each goodie bag. But name tags have been made, class rosters are done. I think there's a few last minute things we have to do. We have to take all the goodie bags out on Wednesday. And then Thursday is it. But we will be hosting an open market on Saturday inside the mansion on the main floor. And that again is in Monticello, Illinois on Saturday, September 21st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It is free to get in, and we are hosting 16 vendors from across the Midwest. So if you go to knittingattheestate.com and then click on the vendor market thread, you can see all of our vendors, and their logos are clickable to their shop. So if you are within a couple hour driving distance, I say come on out, enjoy the park. The park is completely free to peruse and go see all the gardens. Usually the mansion is only ticketed for tours. You can't just walk into it, but because we are hosting this event, you can just come in and shop the market. So we're super excited about that. And the retreat, I can't wait to tell you all about everything that's going to happen after it happens, and hopefully give you the dates for next year if we need to put those in after this retreat, and I can give you official dates. So we close up with that on Sunday, and then we get back home on Sunday, and then we leave on Wednesday to head down to Mississippi. This is our first time it might be my first time actually ever being in Mississippi. I don't know if I've been through Mississippi. We might have driven through last year, but we are going to be vending at the Fiber Fun in the Sip in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and that is Friday, September 27th and Saturday, September 28th. There are wonderful vendors. I think 30 to 40 vendors at this event. Amazing classes you can take. This is our first time there, so we're excited to see people down south for us. This is a bit south for us, so we're heading down there. And then we are not heading home. Oh no. We are driving all the way to Salt Lake City, Utah from Mississippi. That's going to take about 2 days. So we are driving Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Actually, we're going to take a little bit of time. So we're actually breaking it down into 3 days because it's probably about I want to say it's like 30 some odd hours with just driving straight through. It would be 5 additional hours to come home. So we decided to just drive straight through. So we're going to be at Stitches Salt Lake, which is starts Wednesday night, October 1st, and goes through Saturday, October 4th. Stitches is usually a Thursday evening through Sunday. However, due to religious beliefs in the area, they do not host anything on Sunday. So they have moved it to Wednesday evening, which is the vendor market preview. And then you can purchase a ticket to the market preview on Wednesday night. It is a $15 ticket to get in essentially early before the mass populace. And then Thursday and Friday, you can purchase a 1-day ticket for $15 or a 2-day ticket for $20 or $25. I can't remember. And that'll get you into either Friday or Saturday or Friday and Saturday. And then Thursday or Friday or Thursday and Friday. And then Saturday is the Friends and Family Day, and it's completely free to get into the market on Saturday. So we're super excited to check out Utah, see the beautiful sights. We've heard nothing but amazing things about the location by Christy and Tristan, who are the mother-daughter duo behind Girls at the Yarn Cafe, they are a mother-daughter team. They both have their own independent yarn dyeing companies. They will both be vending at Salt Lake Stitches, and that is Christy is the dyer behind Yarn Cafe Creations, and Tristan is the dyer behind Dragon Horde Yarns. So they are in Salt Lake City, so they are just a hop, skip, and a jump away, and they have said how beautiful the location is, so I'm excited to see that part of the country. We are not excited to drive through the mountains at this time of year, but fingers crossed, we have no issues. So then we will be back home about 2 days later. So we'll be home Sunday night, and then I will record on Monday, and I'll see you guys again Monday or Tuesday that week. And then we head off on another big excursion, which I'll talk about next time. So thank you so much for sticking with me this long. I know I said it was going to be a shorter episode, but if you know me by now, you know I like to talk and get to going, and just doesn't feel right unless it's almost an hour. Anyway, until I see you again in 3 weeks or so, I hope you knit something dramatic.